All right. Well, we're glad to have with us today Tim, Brother Tim, Sister Priscilla, and we're going to be interviewing them today for our midweek service. And we're glad that they're a part of New Life and they are a blessing to the church. And so we want to welcome Brother Tim, Sister Priscilla, and to our Zoom interview. How you guys doing?
Pretty good. Hello.
Glad that you're here.
Us too.
So we're going to just get into our interview. And Brother Tim, Sister Priscilla, they have a beautiful testimony. And I got to see some of it played out. Some of it I don't know all the details of it, but I do know some of it, and it's an amazing journey you guys have been on, and I'm glad that I was able to see God do some of this great amazing work through your guys' lives, and how He's changed you and how He's helped both of you. You guys have come such a long ways, and you guys make me so proud, and I see just the hand of God on your guys' lives, the blessings of God on your guys' lives. Where you were and to where you are now, it's just been amazing. And I felt it was important that people hear your testimony, how God has helped you, and you've been determined in yourself as well to make it. Just tell me a little bit about you guys, a little background of your life.
Well, I'm Tim Garcia from the big city of Mendota. What can I say? I mean, I grew up there all my life, and the majority of it was pretty wild. I was raised by my mom. She did a very good job with me. Good thing she put God in my life a long time ago. I just kind of strayed away from it as I got older, got into the party scene, I guess. But I'm glad that she had planted that seed in me a long time ago, to where I knew where I needed to go once I
Dearly missed.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure. Sister Priscilla, kind of what's your background? A little bit of where
From Biola.
okay.
Small little town outside of Kerman. Oldest of 5. So there's 3 girls and 2 boys. We were raised Catholic in the church. Baptized. Did First Communion, confirmation, that kind of thing. And met Tim many years later in Mendota.
You guys have a little bit of background and kind of, with at least about church. It came from different. Was your mom Catholic, Tim, or?
No, she raised me in a Pentecostal church in Mendota.
Yeah. So you guys had some background in church. Drugs, or did you get into drugs scenes early in your life, or was it something you gradually did when you were older?
You know what? I'm not going to justify anything. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat anything, but Mendota's a small town, and I got into the scene quite early in my life. I was 13, I guess, when I started.
Wow.
When I started, like a lot of people in Mendota, well, the majority when I was growing up, there wasn't much to do, and but I'm not making no excuse, nothing. But I got into the scene kind of early, I got real quick to get into the scene, and I started off with drinking and smoking, and then I got into the harder drugs.
Yeah.
And it just I didn't think, never did I thought or even think that it became such a norm that I didn't think it was a problem. It didn't. Yeah. It was like the thing to do for me. And then my buddies that I had with me, and we just took off with it, and it got pretty bad. It got pretty real bad. It got bad too. I always thought I could handle it, and I always thought that I was strong-minded, and until I realized once you start thinking it like that, like you got it all under control, that's when you don't have it under
Yeah.
control, you know, and I didn't realize that, you know. Like most of the people that I grew up with, you know, they you know, we got pretty bad on most of the drugs, weed, and then a lot of drinking, and then I went to the crank stage, and then all of a sudden it popped to the meth stage, like it's a stronger form of it, and
Yeah.
and it was
It's-
not just me; it was there, like a lot of people, you know, even in school, in high school, we were, you know, got pretty deep into it, you know. But like I said, we didn't think it was a problem. I didn't think it was a problem. Me personally, I didn't think until it was too late. Until I realized, wow, you know.
How old were you when you realized like I do have a problem?
See, wow, I was older already, Pastor. Like older, like probably till I was like 34.
Yeah.
34, you know, like I was in it for a long time, you know, and like I said, I never thought it was, I always thought I had it under control or it wasn't a problem. It was just it became a norm kind of
It's
until,
always more. I mean, you get into one thing, but then you got to have something stronger. It always leads to more, leads to more, leads to more. And it's just hard to satisfy that craving. And so you always got to advance to something else. It seems like, you know, that's kind of like your story. It started off maybe with just drinking, and then it kind of led to the next thing, into the next thing, and into the next thing.
yeah.
Is that way it kind of went?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It ended with the meth though. Like that was like you know, I dabbled with quite a bunch of other, you know, drugs.
Yeah.
And but the meth was by far the strongest for me, and that got a hold of me pretty good. You know?
Were you in this, Priscilla? Did you dabble into any of that, or did you stay away from?
No, I did. I was much older, much older, much older when I started drugs, and so by my choice, you know, it was nothing that no fault of my parents or anything like that. It was it was my choice, and those were the mistakes that I made, you know, and kind of met Tim in that scene, you know. That's how kind of we started, was in that scene, and that's where our stuck in that scene, you know, and you start forgetting the good, I guess, thinking everything's okay during that time.
Did you guys kind of come to the realization together, like, hey, we got a problem here? Or
when I knew it was an issue is when I lost my family.
Yeah.
You know, that was it for me. When I realized when they got taken from my family, I lost everything. I almost lost my house, and but once I lost my kids and my family, that was it's so weird because I had saw like many people when I was in the scene losing their families, you know, and I never thought that I would end up in that type of situation, you know, and so I knew how far I knew people who lost them for good, you know, and I met people, and I knew a lot of people like that, and when it happened to me, I already knew how bad it could get. So when I lost my family, I was like, no, that's it. It's either now or never, you know, and my mom always showed me love, and so there's no way I could have like not showed love to my kids, you know, or lose them, because my mom wouldn't, you know, my mom loved us so much, and she always showed me real love, and I couldn't, and also I grew up without a dad, so that too was stuck in my head that I know how it felt being without a dad. So to have my kids grew up without their parents, that was it for me. That's what did it for me. That's when I realized. That's when I knew. I didn't even have to. I knew instantly. Like, oh, no. I'm not gonna put. I'm not gonna.
That was the line in the sand. It was like, hey, this is it. This is.
You know, and I got friends and stuff that have asked me, dude, because it is hard to get off. You know.
Yeah.
the meth and stuff. Like, how'd you do it? How'd you do it? And I'm like, dude, my kids, they took it from me. That's what did it for me. You didn't have to,
But Pastor, also too, it's the want.
Yeah.
It's the want.
Exactly.
It's as many programs, as many things that are out there to help people. You have to want to do that, and it came down. During that whole time, we were still in the world, and we had our kids, and it came down to us, losing everything, like Tim said, for us to realize, hey, that God
hitting rock bottom.
It was, yeah. And that's what it took for us.
Yeah.
To finally know.
Wake up.
Exactly, to wake up, and so it was like a light switch, from one day to the next. That was it.
I knew also. Okay. I instantly knew without God was the answer. Like, I knew it. Like,
sure.
I tell my buddies too, like, you got to put God first, man, because there's no way you're going to do it by yourself. It's just, and surround yourself with good people, like church type people, like, and godly people, people that are at least into like God, and they'll know God. And because without God, I don't think I know I would not have did it without God. Like, especially like finding a good church, like it just by yourself, it's impossible. It's just I want people to know that when they're out there in the world like that, and they get in a situation like I'm in or I was in, without God, it's nearly impossible.
You guys went through some of those programs for like drug rehab and all that,
yes.
But why don't you think those worked? Is it still like what you were? Go ahead. I'll let you.
The program, if you want them to work, the programs do work if you're willing to change. We were without a vehicle, so just a little bit of our story. We would have to get up, catch the transit bus, in Mendota to Fresno, to get another, Fresno bus to be able to go to our classes, and that was Monday through Friday thing. We took AA classes also that were required. All this. We did everything that we were asked to do because there was no way we were letting our family go. And so, we would do those classes during the day, get the bus back, to get the transit back, to go back to Mendota, and then start again the next day. And it was just and that was for 6 months.
Yeah, 6 months.
6 months,
Yeah.
But we had to. Programs work if you want them to work, and they're available and they're out there, and there's really no excuse. You can't be like, well, I don't have a vehicle. There's help out there. But our biggest thing, Pastor, throughout that whole thing, was how we found New Life.
Yeah.
We found our family. We found God again. As much as those programs are meant to help you and they give you those steps, you need more. You do need more, and you need to find that and realize that.
And I remember Tim telling me, Pastor, whatever it takes, I'm going to get my family back. And he meant it, and you meant it, and Priscilla meant it, and you guys both meant it, and you guys were determined. And like you said, I remember you had no car, no vehicle, and you were like, whatever it takes, Pastor, we want our family back. And it was so, and I see you guys. I mean, you did it. I mean, you found a way to get to the meetings, and then you guys, instead of breaking free, when a lot of times problems comes, people just kind of turn from God and they go back to the old ways again. But you guys went the totally opposite way, and you surrounded yourself with people that you felt like could help you. And we had a lot of church people, and I know people loaned you a car and from the church, and we were there, and I know Brother Alex and different ones and their family, but you guys did the hard work, and it was just so amazing.
The feeling, it was overwhelming from the love we got from New Life. It was, man, I could go from the car lending from Sister Amy and the Gonzalez family to Sister Rachel and Brother Alex, and just to mentoring us, and even all the way to Celia. When I remember she bought me a fridge, and she told me I could pay her back, and
to Lawrence's picking us up for service, everybody's just
Sister Ortiz showing up to our meetings, you showing up to our meetings, and and that's major. That was major to us. That was like, there was nobody in the world that was going to do that for me, or us. Like, it was just, I have so much love for New Life Church, and so much.
That experience when your kids, they took away your kids, I mean, how did that feel? What did you guys go through?
I wish it upon no one, nor do I, it's the most, that's what broke me.
Yeah.
That my addiction was so a norm. It was like, so normal, like but losing my kids, that broke it. That just did it. There's no way I could, the hurt is so tremendous, of having them just come and take your kids from you, and then you can't do nothing, and if you try to do something, they'll arrest you, it was, because I tried, and it just it's a horrible feeling, and in an addiction, man, it's just.
Now, when that happened, when they took the kids, did you guys, like, breaking free from the drug scene? How difficult was that after that?
That seed my mom planted in me years ago as a kid, instantly kind of just like sprouted in me. Like, I knew instantly, God.
Yeah.
I need to. Because nothing else ever worked, or I couldn't go to my buddy or the scene, the drug scene, because that kind of help was like, here, passing me the pipe,
Yeah.
That was the type of help I would have got, from the world, and that just, I knew God. I just knew it. I had to find a church. I had to find God. And I thank my mom for planting that seed in me, years ago.
Yeah.
Years ago. And
very, very overwhelming, Like I said, it's the biggest wake-up call that you can have. At least for us, every story is different. But for us, it was our wake-up call. And it just was. It was, from one day to the next. We actually found New Life after the fact. Once the kids were gone. The way we found New Life was all God too, At the time, we had our home. We had a couple of renters that were still in the world. But the reason why we helped them or let them, rent a room in the home was because we needed help during that time because we were getting to our classes. That one of those renters that like I said, was still in the world. People were like, well, what are you doing helping that person? You're trying to get better, right? Well, that person's wife wasn't in the world, but was always praying for her husband, right?
Because he was in the prison system. He's been in the prison system all his life.
Right. So. And so her husband, our renter's wife would come and visit him. She would be the one to come and just bring him whatever he needed, but at the same time, would always ask him to go to church. Well, at that time, it was maybe about 2 weeks since everything had happened to us. She's like, hey, why don't you guys come with us to church? I'm like, well, I don't, right away, I don't really have anything to wear, those kind of things, No, just come as you are, right? So we get in the vehicle with her, and she's like, I'm going to take you to this church in Fireball. It's over here. But little do we know that it was her husband's church that he grew up with. That he hadn't been to in many, many years. We get over there. We actually got lost getting over there because she couldn't really remember. We get there kind of, service that kind of started already.
Yeah.
We knew it was, she knew it was by the canal. We get to, by there, we get in there, and we're just we go in and everybody's, praising God, and it was a different atmosphere than what I was, used to.
Right.
But it was just so much love. It was just so much love. And the first person to greet us was Sister Rachel. And that's where it started. And then from there, Sister, after that service, it was just how much love everybody just welcomed us from the beginning, and have always been like that with us. And Rachel, after that, came for the afternoon service, and you guys need a ride, sure. And it just evolved from there. And so that was, everybody at first was, what are you doing with those renters in your house? But look at how God used those people to bring us to new life,
That's amazing.
It is.
That's amazing.
It is.
Amazing. Wow. This is how God works it out. Those are God connections, and man, God moments. That's so beautiful. What were some of the changes that were made that you guys had to make or did make to help get you going in the right direction?
Okay. Everything for me, it was like I chose the lifestyle. Like I chose to choose the drugs and that life, like all that, like, because my life growing up, I grew up good. Like my mom raised us good, I just, like I said, I strayed away, like so I chose basically to do all the drugs and all that and everything. So basically I had to choose to get out. Same difference. Like it just, so I had to choose God. Like I had to choose, change my lifestyle. And
what were some of the things that you did?
You first have to change your environment, who you're around. What's influencing you, and so what we did was we became hermits for a little while, and just became secluded, and then we started surrounding ourselves with the right people, and the right people was New Life, and was our church, and was God, and that's what helped us make all the positive change, all the positive steps to be able to change, and for it not just to be a temporary change, but a permanent change,
Yeah, that's important.
Yes, definitely, because I know relapse and people, they fall back into their addictions or whatever it is. But like for us, I think if we had continued surrounding ourselves with the same people that we had been with, it would have been hard. It would have been hard, or harder.
Right.
So we had no room to fail anymore. We had lost everything, and so this was all or nothing. Definitely. And so that's what.
So one of the things is changing your environment.
Definitely.
That would be one of the.
Most definitely. As hard as that is for some people, or even for us at the time, it just had to be done. It just has to be done.
First of all, stayed plugged into church. Had to prove to the system that we were ready to get back our kids, and
how long was that process?
It was quite a while.
Well, see, Pastor, and that's one thing too. We were told in the beginning it was going to be anywhere from like 9 months to a year.
Yeah.
Right before we can get them back, and I was like,
yeah,
I couldn't even fathom that. I couldn't. I was like, for a couple of days, it was just kind of total shock, and realizing it's just breaking you down. That's how I felt. We're just broken down and just, okay, this is where we have to start. But with the grace of God, right? We finished everything we had to do on time. Every time we did our program, we did our classes, we did everything that we were told that we needed to do to be able to have our family back. And we showed up to our court appearances, and every time we were always everybody was always like, oh, you guys are doing great, you're doing great, we don't see this. We got our kids back within 6 months. Yeah. And even the judge told us, that was rare for him to even see that ever happened, and and we never wanted to be in that situation, but we were, and so to know that it was possible, but we had no other option, but But it is possible, you know, you
It is
just,
possible.
yes. And at the same time, you know, repairing ourselves, you know, during
Yeah.
that time, so when we got our family back, we were right, you know, we were right for
Yeah.
them, and not knowing during that time that we weren't, you know,
Yeah.
because that was one
Mm.
of the things with our addiction. I don't think we knew how bad things were, even though, they were, you know.
That addiction just blinds you. It just totally blinds you, and it just, you don't see it until you sober up.
Right.
Wow, I didn't realize how blind I was. And
Now you take a step back and you can see, like, man,
yeah, like,
Almost
wow,
it was, yeah.
it's unbelievable. Like, I was just like, wow, I can.
And then after 6 months, guys they reunited you,
Right.
brought everybody back.
Right. Yeah. We, you know, during that time, you know, we were able to have visitations and those kind of things, you know, and that's what kept us going, you know, and even being able to bring the kids to the church, you know, for the first time, you
Yeah.
know, those things, those are little baby steps in between, you know, that people need to realize that even though they're little small steps, you still, you know, they're still coming, they're going to come. And so you just, be persistent on what it is that you want. And so that's what it was, you know? And then, so, yeah, it took us 6 months, right before Christmas is when they came back. And
you guys have shown that you can recover. You can make your family whole again. And you're great examples to the other people out there maybe dealing with the same thing. And it's a powerful testimony. It really is. And it shows the power of God, of course. And then you're partnering with God, because always there with you on the next step and the next step. And you guys did it, and you guys proved yourself, and God proved that he was faithful. And I know, like we would always talk about, you know, you just keep going in the right direction, you end up in the right place.
yes.
And you guys were, and you're making those, like you're saying, baby steps. And it took some time as a process, but here you guys are, and now your family is whole again, and your beautiful family. And I remember that reunion, and it was awesome. It was a great feeling, and it was so wonderful to see you guys back together. Now tell us a little bit about, you know, since then, what has happened. Your family came back together, and then this was some years ago now. And then what has happened since then?
I was thinking about it earlier when I said I was 34. It's been 5 years, so I was like 37.
5 years?
Yeah.
Oh, it's been 5 years now?
Yeah, it's 5 years.
Yeah, it's gone by fast.
It was 5 years in May.
Yeah.
5 years
Whoa.
wow, right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
We were baptized in June of 2015.
Yeah, that I noticed is once we were baptized, I mean, everything it just, man, I recommend everybody there, because it literally felt, and everything just started to change. Just like literally, like everything started getting good, and everything just started.
Yeah.
We're literally brought back. We were brand new.
Yeah.
Brand new. It was just.
Yes.
God gave us
And that's why, you know, how God works. You know, you make those steps, and then God blesses you as well. You know, so it's a partnership with God, and you guys were taking steps of faith, and you're being baptized, and then you're just making these, like you're saying, they're consistent. They weren't always leaps, but they were just steps.
Yes.
Steps. Some days it was a standing still, but you were just still there, and then you would take another step, you know, and you guys kept going forward. And as you did that, God always just continued to bless. And I just want you guys to kind of talk a little bit about that, because that's exciting too, what's happened in the last few years of your life as well.
Yeah, it's just wow. You know, I started working. I went back to work. I started you know, as a cashier, and just kind of worked my way up there. And little by little, and it's true, every time we made good steps, God blessed us 10 times more. Every single, continues to this day, continues to do that for us. So how can we ever go back? You know, ever, like it's not even an option. Wow. So, you know, with my job, you
guys were living in Mendota still?
Living in Mendota still, commuting, you know, to my job, you know, in Kerman, and going back and forth. You know, just little steps, you know, the kids, you know, back in
Back
school,
there.
just a little, started renovating our home, those kind of things. Everything seemed like it took it took a long time, but now I look back, it's only 5 years ago, right?
That felt like a long
I
time.
went back to school in the meantime, and then got my tech license for pharmacy, that opened up a lot of doors for us.
Yeah.
And we just keep on
Yeah.
moving forward. We're blessed, for
Yeah.
Tim to be able to be home with our daughter, during
Yeah.
this time,
Yeah.
and just making those baby steps to where we're at now, where we were able to purchase a brand new home from the ground up, to watch our brand new home being built,
Yeah.
once again, God just continuing to
Amazing.
bless us abundantly, and where we're at now, 5 years later.
I remember Tim was telling me a little about, that making that move and with the house, and he was just like, I'll let you tell it, Tim, but how you were like, man, it ain't gonna happen, and how some of that happened. How did that go down, Tim, and some of that story?
Actually, I was coming from one of my classes I was on a city bus. I was on Belmont and Tulare, I think. I was coming from a class, and I looked up and I saw a sign that one of my old buddies that I knew from school, and he ended up being a realtor, and he helped me out. I gave him a call right there at the bus stop. I was like, sure enough, he's like, yeah,
What'd you tell him?
I told him, hey, at the time I was like, I just want to sell my house. I just want to get back on my feet. And he was like, yeah, we can do that. We can do that too. But then later on, he hooked me up with some other a broker, one of his brokers. It just changed after that. They gave us a little rundown of what we could do with their house as far as renovating it and then just renting it out, and that's how
when they told you, it's possible to get a new house, what'd you guys think?
Well, me personally, of course, those are things we prayed for, those are things we prayed for and we asked for, and it was just a better environment for our children. And, but our biggest thing was, how are we going to leave? New life is in Firebaugh, right?
Yeah.
New life is in Firebaugh. And so, okay, we'll commute, or we start figuring this out. And then all of a sudden, our pastor posts, on that we're looking to have when was it when we planned that? In May, right?
In May, yeah.
It was in May.
Yeah.
When you had posted that, how we were going to have our church here, you were branching out and we were coming to Fresno. And I told Tim, wow, look at God. Look how good our God is. We're going to do this. We're doing this. And so by the next month, we were already in stages, right? Signing, and everything started being built. And it was the same time when we started, New Life Fresno. And so God just stayed with us. He said, just basically told us, trust what I'm doing, because our biggest thing was our support, and that's always been New Life. You guys have always been there. And so, yes, and God just worked his magic.
That was beautiful.
I like to add, though, that sign that I saw, his name was Mariano Peralta.
Yeah,
It was so funny how it happened. I was like,
oh yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I looked up and I knew I recognized that name. I was like, it was a billboard. And I was like, what? So I gave him a call. So shout out to you, brother. Thank you.
God had you in the right place, man. Connect you with the right people.
Right people.
Yeah. That was, and I remember that too, when you guys were saying about moving and we're talking about it, and it happened to be that we were like, hey, we felt to start a new work in Fresno, and you guys are like, ah, perfect, man. It's, we can still attend a New Life, and we're still connected to the church family, and and I've got to see your guys' house. And it's a beautiful house, brand new, awesome neighborhood, and man, and just to see the blessings of God, and that's just one little thing, but of course, your family back together, seeing just how God continues to, just his favor is to continue upon you, and your guys' faithfulness, to church and, worship and just giving of yourselves to the kingdom of God. And it's been a beautiful thing. this is so inspirational. And there's a lot of people that are, sometimes they think there's no hope for me. I'm too far gone, or our family can never be whole again, our marriage can never be whole again, and we can never have anything. And this is the way it's always going to be. But you guys proven that it can change, it can be different.
Yes,
definitely.
And that's so beautiful. It's so inspiring, and I think this is going to be a great testimony for so many others. Would you guys have anything else you'd like to add or say, or encouragement or anything to anyone?
People that are out there dealing with their addiction, all addictions are bad and stuff, but like especially the ones that are out there on meth, there's only, it's a whole different other world. It really is. All drugs are bad. Okay.
Sure.
But like when it comes down to meth, it's almost like a different world and different. I just want all y'all to know that it's possible to get off of it. You just gotta choose to get off of it, want to get off of it, and more importantly, have God in your life. And because it's not easy, especially when it becomes a norm and you think that you got it under control. You don't. Right. Especially when you think that you got it under control. That's the red flag that lets you know that you don't have it under control, because it already has you so fooled that you think you do. And you got to take that step. If you really want to get off of it, you can, and you got to put God with you. If not, it's just not. It's not possible, or it's not going to be easy at all without God. You need God to help you out with that. And I just know there's a lot out there that's just suffering from that, and it's tearing up families, and it's just literally from the inside out.
Priscilla, you want to have anything else to add or say?
I just want to say thank you. Really, thank you, because there's so many families there in New Life that helped us out. That if it wasn't for everybody's love and support, we wouldn't be where we're at right now.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And even when there was times, once we started getting back on our feet, and I was working and things were happening, we weren't showing up to church sometimes, and they would go months, sometimes a couple of months, and we're like, we need to get back. And when we got back, it was like we never missed a beat. Everybody welcomed us right back. And it's always been positive with New Life. I can't always say that for other churches or even, other places, but it's always been positive, always that warm, welcoming feeling. And that's what's kept us there. And that's what my children feel every time they go in. And I want them to know that that's how church is supposed to be. And that's how church is. And that's how God is. And no matter what mistakes you make, He's always there for you, and He's always going to, welcome you back with open arms, and it's never too late, and so New Life shows us that every single time we're at service, and even over Zoom or even over, Bible studies or life groups or anything like that, and it doesn't matter how involved you are in church or if you've never even been to church before, how New Life is a very good church to, even if it's your first time there, if you haven't been back there for a while or what. And so but we're we're grateful for you, Pastor, for you and your family, for Emmy and her family, and the Gonzalez's, the Martinez's, the Ortiz's, Celia and Enrique. I mean, just everybody, how much you guys went out of your way to help us, and support us and be our support. So thank you.
And that's what the church is. You're welcome, of course. That's what the church is supposed to be. And it's so you said it so well. That how you want your children to know this is the way God is. And we are representative of God and His love, and that's what we want to be. We want people to come in and feel the love of God, and that we're really concerned about them. It's not just words.
Yes.
And the church has proven that. And the people there that people do care about people, and that we want to see people succeed, and we want to see people get back on their feet. And this wasn't just, myself, but it was the church. A lot of families stepped up and helped. And that's what I like to see. And it's so encouraging to know that this is the body of Christ. Yeah.
So much for making us feel so comfortable. Everybody. The Lawrences, also the Barones.
Oh yeah.
All of y'all making us feel so comfortable there, and felt so comfortable we didn't want to leave. We're never gonna leave this church.
Well, and maybe our children and our children's children, and
Yes. That's
it's
important.
yes, most definitely,
You guys you see the big picture. You understand that this is something that it can't end with you. It has to be passed on to your children and to the next generation and next generation. And what a beautiful testimony one day, when you stand with your kids and your grandkids and maybe great grandkids, and you're all together and serving God and church, and just and you guys started. You guys started this, and you took the big steps and made it happen. And so, man, we're so proud of you.
New Life you all made it easy for us too, though. You guys being comfortable was major in us for us, and we really do appreciate New Life Church and everybody involved with it. And really, really, from the bottom of our hearts, we really, really, really appreciate y'all. And we're just so glad we found y'all. We found New Life.
We're glad too. Glad you guys are part of our family. But so, man, I just wanted to thank you guys for being open and sharing your testimony and sharing this with us. It's I know it's not easy. We talk about some of our past and some of the things we were involved in, but it's a beautiful testimony. It's a powerful testimony, and to see what God can do, and that's why I wanted to just have you guys give some of that. And I know there's a lot you could have added to it as well, but just to share some of that with everyone so they can see, that God can help you if you're willing, to also make those steps and do that hard work. You can get it back. And it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. You didn't get there overnight, and you're not going to come out overnight. But if you'll stick to it, you will come out, and you'll have victory, and you will be whole again. And so that's just a message we need to hear.
Yes.
It's a message people need to hear. And we love you guys, and love your family. You guys are such a wonderful family. And of course, Tim is always making us laugh. All right, guys, love you. Thank you for sharing. I love you.
Love you.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.